So one of the challenging things for me when I was first getting started with working remotely is kind of knowing how to disconnect and allowing myself to disconnect from work. So working remote was new for me. I had never worked remotely before we went into the pandemic for a lot of people. And so that adjustment was a little bit different for me. I didn't have these cues around me of, hey, it's time to take a break for lunch, or it's time to end the workday, and people are leaving and the lights are being shut off. I didn't necessarily have those external cues. And so I really had to learn to manage myself a lot better. For some people, that might mean that if they didn't have that self-management under control, it might be that they would work, maybe they'd wake up in the morning and immediately they would hop into work, and then basically work until, you're tired and the sun goes down. Because you didn't have those external cues. There weren't people getting up around you to go to lunch. No one was leaving for the day. So you wouldn't necessarily know when it was time to leave. The clock wasn't necessarily that reminder, especially when you're really kind of managing yourself. So I find with GTD, what helps me the most is, and there's a coach, a fellow GTD coach, Meg Edwards, who uses a phenomenal analogy that I just love of bookmarks and bookmarking. So the analogy basically is, let's say that you have a book that you're really just, oh my gosh, this is a page turner. It's a phenomenal book. And you're just really into it. Or maybe it's not a page turner. You're just really into this book. So you're reading through this book and, you really have the option, if you wanted to just spend your entire day reading this book. As much, any second, any minute that you get, you could just constantly be reading this book. Or you could take your time, read for an hour or so and then put a bookmark in that book and then disengage from that book and get on to other things that maybe need your attention for the day. And so the analogy for GTD is that bookmark is your next action. So capturing that next action on any kind of project that I'm working on, any type of, proposal or anything that I've got going on that has my attention, I can put a bookmark in it once I'm ready to, or I need to disengage from that project. So if I'm decided that I'm working on a project that really has my attention, one of my next actions might be to do project planning. Like project planning is so often, a huge reliever for me. I just need to brain dump things. I need to brainstorm things. I need to clarify and organize all the stuff that comes from that project planning. And then I can put a bookmark in that project because I've done my project planning. I have my project plans and I now identified what my next action is. And maybe I'm ready to engage with that next action, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm ready to, I did my project planning. I spent an hour on this. Now I'm going to put a bookmark in this project and I can now disconnect and disengage and feel confident and comfortable that I'm not going to forget something, that I'm going to know exactly how to dive back into this project when I'm ready to, and not get caught up in this idea that, I have to go from page 1 to page 100 all in one setting. I can go from page 1 to page 10 and then put a bookmark there. You can start a project and all you do is maybe send an email and then you put a bookmark in that next action. And that's the thing that you do for that particular project. Whatever it is that you need to do to get that project off of your mind. For some projects, that means that you need to do a lot more to move the project forward. But for other projects, there might not be a lot of pages that you need to read before you can put that bookmark in place. So that's something that's worked really well for me and that GTD has definitely helped support. Hopefully you are enjoying this video series. If you are not already, make sure you subscribe, like this video if you like the content that you're seeing, and leaving a comment down below on how GTD has helped you in your remote work.